Hi, my friends. Some days ago, I had an interview with Marla Holtz from California, and it was extremely nice. We talked mainly about the documentary that was made about my research, and I also had the opportunity to show a bit of my research in a presentation. And it was such a pleasant time with her. I met Marla in in person when once I was in US. I think it was in Orlando. Yeah, in a moment that I made a workshop, and she's such a nice and sweet person, and it was a very nice conversation. I hope that you enjoy, and stay well. Bye bye.
Today, I am just over the top excited to have Sonia Rinaldi back on the show. Brazilian researcher Sonia Rinaldi is helping people connect with loved ones in the afterlife by recording their voices and having video recordings of people living in the afterlife, which alleviates the bereavement of parents, spouses, and other loved ones grieving for someone who has died. And now the tangible records of the voices and images of people now living in the afterlife provide compelling evidence that life continues after the body passes. That realization changes the people who hear and see their deceased loved ones, and it changes their attitude toward the normal life transition called death. As more people experience connecting with loved ones in this way, and as the audio and video recordings are broadcast and disseminated, people will come to realize the fact that life doesn't end at the transition from the earth. The realization will change people's attitudes towards themselves, others, and eventually it will change humankind. Welcome back to the program, Sonia.
Thank you, Marla.
So good to see you again. So I am super excited. Super is not even a good word. It's ineffable how excited I am about your documentary that just came out titled Instrumental Transcommunication to the Other Side. And I just want to let my listeners know I've known Sonia now for probably four years. Her work is like none other of what is going on in the world today. And I ask any of you that if you know someone or if you yourself have had a loved one pass, reach out to Sonia and also just look at her work. She brings these images through. She's done it for me and many others. And so today she's going to tell us about her documentary with a presentation and a few video clips, and also her research that she's doing today. So take it away, Sonia.
Oh my God. Okay, thank you, Marla. Thank you. So if you want to, I can start with the presentation.
Wonderful.
And so just to update our listeners. So let me see here. So we can talk about the latest advancements in instrumental transcommunication research. If anyone doesn't know what instrumental transcommunication is, it is the communication between our side, our physical plane, and other realms and worlds or dimensions, so however you wanted to name it, through electronic devices. So no medium is evolved, no persons, nothing. And I will start showing you some images that I have been registering in video over vapor. This is all techniques that I invent myself. And the vapor is just a humidifier. You can see two behind me there. And it is something absolutely amazing how our spirit friends can shape the vapor. See, we have to observe the aspect of the technology evolved, because the vapor is in our space-time, and still they can change it so that while I'm recording, they are already giving formats and creating faces over the vapor. So it is perhaps to show to us their incredible technology. Here is a face, possibly, I suppose, represent one of our commanders. They have high entities who are possibly non-humans, and you can observe for the size of the head that this image doesn't look like a human, and possibly he is from the board of the commander of our Earth. Here, another image created. Just notice that the vapor is something fluent. It doesn't stop, and still they can, we have no idea how, they can shape and create formats over the shape, the vapor. This is, I think, one very beautiful image because, again, we have all the time to pay attention to the technology. Observe that the vapor that I was using is exactly, let's say, white, right? It is a vapor. And sometimes I use some lights, and note that they distributed the colors so to create a face, a man's face, and possibly a hand that was not complete. And always observe that all these have to be created under a huge velocity. Why? Because this is just one frame. So one frame in a video is the time equivalent to 1 second divided by 30. So it's extremely quick. It is extremely in high velocity that they have to work. Other type of phenomenon that I record here are the transfigurations and apparitions. I will show you some examples. This is another technique that I say that I invented it, but obviously it is nothing from our mind. In truth, it works when they inspire and give some hints so that we can do something, test, and then we discover that that can be our way. So one thing that I have been doing, and very successfully, is anyone can see in our magazines, because I make reports of absolutely everything that I record. Everything that I do is recorded, because I don't think of the nowadays. I think of the next generations that will obviously develop this work much more, and so they will have all information of this beginning, because in spite of many times be something so impressive, I'm sure that this is just a beginning, and this will be something great in some years. Maybe we not even will be here, but it doesn't matter. We are just planting the seeds. So one technology that I created, or they inspired you or anything, is like this. I can record remotely with, let's say, a mom that lost a child, or any person who lost someone, and through Zoom, exactly as I'm doing now with Marla. And I ask the person with whom I'm recording to hold a picture, obviously in a big size, in front of their face, in front of the webcam, right? So that in my recording, I have the person to whom I'm talking behind, and I have the photo of the loved one in front. Okay, now what we expect. Again, we don't know how, but they will act over the photo, and it is something like they will give life to the photo, and the photo will change, will move the head, will smile, will move the eyes, and so on. And many times become younger or older, usually younger. And I'll give you some examples. This at left is my friend Rosana. She is Brazilian, and she lost her mother, Mrs. Linda. And this one at right was the photo that she was showing to her webcam. And that was what I was seeing from my side. Okay, now look how the photo changed into different positions and with different hair, and these are three different moments of the same video. And when I sent it to Rosanna, she said, absolutely, that is my mother, because that was her style, you know, always laughing and a big smile and so on. So she was absolutely impressed with this apparition of her mother. Here we have Jennifer. She is from Seattle, United States, and she lost her brother, Billy. And she was holding, as you see, she's behind the photo at this picture at our right. And that is the photo that she was holding in front of the camera of her brother. And Billy, that was this in the photo, became this little boy that obviously Jennifer recognized as being her brother when he was a child. So this is perhaps why do they present the loved ones younger? I never asked in truth, but I suppose that it is for bringing something that surprises the family, because obviously Jennifer was not expecting to see this little boy, and that she could recognize. So I think that it is also to bring some image that the family doesn't have in any place, and no relative has any photo of that. Here we have Lisa. Lisa is from Maine, US. She lost her daughter Amber. And this was a very curious case, because that was the photo that Lisa was showing. And the photo moved and changed, and it is as if she appeared giving a kiss. Look at her mouth in this image here. So here you are. So Amber was smiling in the photo, and then all of a sudden she makes like giving a kiss to her mother. This was also another interesting experience from the other side. This is my friend Jihei. She's from South Korea, and she lost her loved husband. And she was holding the photo, as you can see. And that day they were testing and, let's say, inaugurating the Asian station. And they entered, blowing up, because they made incredible phenomena. And one of the phenomena was to materialize, instead of the photo, it was materialized some faces, as you see here, this girl, and observe that Jihei, my friend from South Korea, is behind, and her face is covered. What means that this face was solid enough to cover her face behind, right? So how the other side produced this in real time, obviously we have no idea. This is just one moment of the video. Her husband appeared and so on. Here you have other moments of the same video where you can see Jihei behind and the girl in the case of the left photo. And at the right, you have a non-human face also covering partially Jihei's face, and it moves from covering her face and goes and leaves behind Jihei's head. So the face moves like this and goes out. So it is so, let's say, inexplicable for us, for our science. This is Alejandro, and he died with 27 years old. And he appeared as this little boy. And then I wrote it to his mother, Lydia. She's from Florida. And I asked her if it could be her brother, her son, Alejandro, because it was just a little boy. And then she sent this photo when he was some 8 years old, and you observe that it is just the same. And Lydia obviously was extremely surprised. And also they are able to send a message, let's say, because Lydia lost not only her son, Alejandro, but her grandson, Ali, and both appeared together in the same recording, suggesting or meaning that they are together in the other side. So this is something that we learn, that our loved ones stay together with the relatives, with the parents, with the friends, and observe the comparison that Lydia sent this photo of Ali at left, and observe how he appeared in the transimage. And this is his father that died very young. And so him too. Ali died at the age of 21, and his father at the age of 27. This is another case that shows how the other side is able to show someone aging, which is different from the cases that I showed up to here, because you saw people younger, but they also can send the images either of the person now as he looks nowadays in the other side, or I have no idea, because this is the picture of that the family has of Wesley, and he passed it with at the age of 13. And observe at the right that he's older, maybe 17, 18, which is possibly the age he should be today. And this is some other beautiful images, just to show you the abilities of our spiritual friends. And this is another being from the command. And I think that it is time for us to get used to the fact that we are surrounded by ultra-terrestrials, extraterrestrials, and all of them are extremely friendly of us. And that is what I would like you to see today.
Wow. Wow, Sonia. Thank you so much. Wow. So can you just tell us a little bit, I mean, a second divided by 30 and
Yes.
these images. So how do you do that? And
No, not
also
me.
everyone, she does all of this for free. I mean, she
yeah, it is a lot of work, because 1 minute of a video has 1,480 images. So 1 second has 30 images. And when they create or when they do something, it is just one frame. So, which is, how can someone work in such velocity? It is something that for us simply doesn't exist, because 1 second is, and while these passed 30 images. At the moment I say 1 second, 30 images here, and they make it just the change or work over one. So it is so, that is what the scientists should observe, that we are dealing with a technology that is absolutely inexplicable to us. We are just layers. We are not scientists, but we don't have to be, because it is just 1 second divided by 30. Everybody can know this. You don't have to be a genius to perceive. And another thing, where they are, and still they act over our space. And how can do know where is my device to insert the video or whatever?
Right.
Where? So it is absolutely amazing. And still the scientists didn't discover that. But maybe there is a reason for that. Maybe it is not time for changing what I'm doing now, because I know happily that I'm helping many mothers. And maybe this is now a way that the other side has for testing how to reach us, because obviously they have to test. Obviously, nobody knows anything until you, and the same is for them. It doesn't mean that, in spite that there we have Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, so many geniuses, it doesn't mean that they know everything. They have to test for battery, for instance, possibly they need to have an incredible knowledge about time, because we don't know where they are.
Right.
And they have such a small time to reach us. From where? So it is all, astonishing for us.
Yes.
So that is, I always say that when you perceive the importance of all these, we all should put the knees down and say thanks for being watching us, to be aware that we exist.
Yes.
Because they are definitively high entities. Who they are, where, we don't know. Yeah. So it is.
Well, it's so true. I know it's been difficult and very frustrating, because the scientific community, we were just talking about this before I hit the record button, is not really supporting this phenomena. And what's I find interesting about that is that, near-death experiences, they are anecdotal. They're stories people tell, but now there's tens of millions, and many scientists and neurosurgeons, doctors are coming out with their stories. And I guess that is what needs to happen. But I do agree with you that maybe it's just not time for the scientific community to, I don't know, but I get your e-magazines regularly, and let's talk a little bit about those people who have looked at your e-magazine. You've never met them, they've never met you personally, and they see their son or daughter who has passed. They see it in your magazine and then contact you.
Yeah, it is true. And also this happened because the other side also sent images that they wanted to send. So they arrive here as unknowns, because we have no idea who they are until we spread. And then sometimes a mother from here or there contact and say, oh, that is my daughter, that is my son. And obviously, I'm very glad because we are doing, let's say, a social side of the work, because these people may change the life, not to be so destroyed, so devastated because of the loss. Obviously,
Yes.
that it is, but it is a way to say, well, at least my son or my daughter, in truth, didn't die. Well, it is something, right?
Absolutely. I mean, what a different world it would be. And many of us who you've helped already know in our hearts that it is it is true, and it's so incredibly comforting. Sonia, what do you think, how this not only helps grieving people, but helps just humanity live differently, knowing that life continues and continues like so much more beautifully than it is here.
Yeah, in truth, I also am obviously learning every day, but discovering also that instrumental transcommunication is not as I thought initially, as possibly the majority still think, that ITC is for contacting the scissored ones. This is not truth. This is much, much bigger, much bigger. For instance, I researched and have some cases published, and happily there is no way of doing everything at the same time. So when I'm carrying of one thing, I have to stop the other. So to communicate with the loved ones, either through images or through voices, is one thing. But considering that our consciousness is able to communicate simply because it doesn't die together with the brain, with the physical brain, so that it is something that survives out of the body, right? So obviously that I tested the communication with living people. And this is another huge area that in the future will be very, very important, because they will discover that persons in coma, persons autistics, person with Alzheimer, all them can communicate because the consciousness is perfect. The brain is not working. The brain was damaged by a sickness or by an accident and so, but the consciousness is perfectly healthy, as it will be when it leaves this body and the person die. But while the person doesn't die, the consciousness is able to communicate either for a sick person with any disease that compromises the brain, is autism or Alzheimer or in coma, or a terminal patient that cannot speak anymore, with senile dementia, all these, they can communicate, but also healthy. I also tested with healthy friends, and yes, a healthy person can, while sleeping, be transported to the station and speak from there. I tested with some 3 or 4 friends from the US, what means also that there is no distance, that is not a problem. And they spoke with their own voices. And in the following day, I sent it to them what they said during the night in the recordings, and they were, wow, did I say that?
Wow.
So all these is other doors. For instance, the communication with livings in the future, not only with the sick ones, but with the healthy ones, will perhaps solve great crimes. Because, for instance, you may have a murderer And he says, no, I didn't kill anyone. I didn't, and I didn't. Okay, if you have always structure to with the other side, if you have partners in the other side, this consciousness of the murderer can be taken, and he will say exactly what he made, because
Wow.
out of the body, the person has no filters. And whatever you ask, he will reply. And in future, these may serve as proof for lawyers, for
Yes.
So the consciousness is now, let's say, a guarantee for the person to do everything wrong, because nobody can access it.
Right.
But in
right.
future, it will be different. So, and also politics, they do what they want, and they have no idea that all these will have a price in their future. So at the moment that we can prove that survival is a reality, that afterlife is real, we will have another world,
Right. right.
with more responsibility for the persons, related to animals, related to senior people, because it is, you will understand that we are not here on holidays. We are here to develop, to learn, to grow, and not to just to enrich and become, to make a beautiful bank account. These will not be useful at all in the other side, but we are moving in that direction. We one day we'll get there.
Yeah.
Or even that it's not us, that there's no matter, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Someone will.
Has the other side given you any sort of time, since there's no time there, but Earth time frame of when this will start being more accepted and used in the sorts of ways that you're talking about right now?
In truth, it is already ongoing.
Yeah.
Precisely in November last year, or no, not this last year, the other previous year, I was making a live conversation as we are talking now. And for the third time, the live was interrupted, and they entered and left the message and got out. We couldn't understand at the moment what was going on, because we are mute and so on. But in the other following days, I listened to the recording and perceived that they entered. And in November of the other, but nearly a year and a half now, they said that finally they got the authorization, they got permission.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I knew what they meant, because I knew that for the late years, they are waiting and waiting and waiting. I knew that they could do much more than what they are doing, but they were not allowed. But now they are. So you can
Wow.
observe through my e-magazines that in the late months, things are going like this.
Right.
It is one phenomenon behind the other. Obviously, I consider that all this is them testing, so that one day will appear the scientists, will appear those that will carry this to a new level, right? So we are just preparing the field for those that will come. But yes, they are now authorized, and things are moving very fast.
Yeah. I know you've said that that there's a transformation, and that's definitely happening now of the earth, and that
Yeah.
that we are in the middle of that. So Sonia, your documentary, Instrumental Transcommunication to the Other Side, how do people find that? Because it just explains all your work and talking about the voice phenomenon too, which is what you started with. So
Well,
how do people find your documentary?
I think that later I will send you the link so that you can add
I
to
have the
video.
link. I can
So
share it.
yeah, please, because I don't know it by heart, and
Okay,
it is
great.
something that you know me, right? It's something
Right.
that I don't think about, but
Yeah.
please,
Well, why don't you send me the link again just to be sure that I have
yeah,
the
okay.
right link to
Yeah.
share. Okay, wonderful. And wow. So what can we do to help you?
Marla, I don't know. I say I don't know. It seems that I don't know what I do. No, it is not that. It is because I consider that all the time I depend on the other side to push me to one direction or to other, and then I know that is what has to be done. So. Um, I particularly feel that it would be interesting if we had more hands working,
Right.
because, for instance, and every time, as I mentioned some minutes ago, any recording. Let's suppose that I record for a mother who lost someone. Let's say that I record maybe 15 minutes. Wow, it seems, 15 minutes. Now it will take more than a week for me to
Yes.
watch everything, to select the pictures, and then to arrange them so that we can publish. Because I think that nothing of these can be hidden, or can be, all these can have to be out for people to know. So sometimes one recording, when I record for more than one person, it will take 1 month for me to finish everything, and then the magazine is ready, it will be translated, and so and so and so. So it's a lot of work. So I think that maybe what the other side needs is to record more, and avoid that I waste so much time after the recordings. I
Right.
think that they needed to record it, so that we notice the changes they make, you know. But this cannot happen now, because if I record, I cannot simply put it in the drawer. I have to watch it, so it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But we are moving, I think that the other side will take care, and
Yeah.
the right persons will appear, uh, and
Well,
we can go ahead.
yes. Well, I know that you have a Patreon and that people, when they subscribe to that, that is helpful and that they also
Yes.
get the e-magazines. And well, Sonia, can people just reach out to you if they have questions and they want to, you know, find out more about your work or
Yes, sure. In our Patreon, I receive the emails. I see them every day. So
Mhm.
yes, of course,
how would
anyone can.
how would people reach you? What do you want to just your email and your any
Yes.
social media?
I also don't know my social media address.
It's okay. We'll put it in. We'll put it in what you
Yeah,
have.
yeah, please. In truth, it is like this. In truth, I don't like myself, any social
So-
media. Oh my God.
on social media, right, right.
Yes, I don't like, because, it is such a time that goes.
Yeah.
So I have Lisa, my lovely friend, American friend, caring of my Patreon. She helps me. She posts things that every week we post something. We post a new magazine. I have Claudia caring of my Instagram here. So thank God I don't have to watch anything.
Right, because you're
And
very busy. Yeah. Well,
yeah, no, yes. Also I don't watch. So, and
we'll
also
have
on
it all.
Facebook.
We'll have all
Yeah.
that information on the show
Okay.
notes, so you don't need to worry about that. Well, Sonia, thank you so much for coming on today. And do you have any last words of wisdom or anything you'd just like to shout to the world?
No, I just would like people to know, to if they have doubt, they could search about afterlife. This is such a change in life,
Yes,
and we
yes.
need this change right now. We
Mm,
see what is happening in our world. It is something that it sounds these late days sounds that we are living in middle age. It is something horrible that one country is invading another. Oh my God, what is this?
right.
We have humans everywhere. So, we must learn to respect life, to respect the earth, to respect everything, and the mankind thinks that they are the owners of everything. So, but in a good way or in a bad way, I think they will discover it somehow.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It
My
is
pleasure.
so wonderful to see you again. And hopefully we'll actually get together here
I hope
someday
so.
soon. Yeah. Well, take good care and we'll definitely be in touch.
Okay, thank you, Marla, for
Thank
the opportunity.
You're
Thank you to
welcome.
everyone.
Thank
Stay
you.
well. Bye bye.